Good day to you, parents, and welcome back to the Involved Parenting Conversations with myself, Victorine Mbong Shu. Today is an amazing day. You know what? I feel good always when I talk to men because I love men. You know why? I do. They make us parents. They are the ones who make we women parents. So I just love men. And when I'm talking to a man on the subject of parenting, it's just one of my favorite times ever. I have Patrick with me today in the studio, and I'll let you introduce yourself and the work you do to the people, please.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Patrick Mashanda. Basically a community development practitioner. I work a lot in the after school space for children where they come for academic support as well as nurturing support, where we also provide some of the things that they need in terms of food, clothing, just guiding them actually that they rise being resilient young beings that can be responsible citizens when they grow up. So that's basically the space that I work in.
When you say that is basically the space, I know what you're saying is that is the institution that you represent. But can you tell us, how did you find yourself in that space? How did you map your way?
I think the steps of the righteous are ordered by the Lord because I would say it really resonates with my background where I really had a bit of messed up background. And then later on, as I was trying to find myself into probably post-school, like lots of things that I could have done, it wasn't working. I remember I enrolled to do motor mechanics and I was failing the practicals, but theory I would totalize, practicals, zero. Tried to go into computers, it wasn't working, and then I found myself doing computer development, and actually then I went beyond what the textbook could prescribe to live my life.
So you're basically that person who failed a few times but didn't give up.
Definitely.
And why do you think you failed? What happened that you couldn't meet that practical?
There is this key piece around exposure to information. There is the piece of motivation and just having people who can say, hey, you can do it. You can tap and
go
actually,
for it, boy.
Yes, but without those, you are just in the thickets. I think I was one person who was in the thickets, just trying to find a way.
Let's come back to that. Let's talk about fatherhood. Are you a father?
Yes.
How many?
Yes.
How many non-children? How many non-children?
I'm a father of only 2 children.
2, but many. Right? No, I mean many in the space. Please, wife, don't take it wrongly. I'm sure wife is somewhere watching us right now. So basically, I mean, working with children, you're a father to many, but 2 biological.
Yes.
And tell me about fatherhood. So let's start with your fatherhood. When you grew up, was your father present in your life? Was your mother present in your life? How was your childhood and parenting in that space?
So I think I'm one of those people who were probably unfortunate but very common. So maybe it's common that you grow up and the parents, I think my parents were pretty old. I think when I was born, and not really. My dad was pretty old because I think I've other sisters, his other children were older than my mom, so I think he was old. That's my thinking. And growing in that space, there were lots of dynamics. And I was unfortunate to be in a polygamous setup.
Maybe fortunate. Yeah.
Maybe fortunate. We derived lessons from that. And in that space, I can't really recall anything like in terms of a fatherly direction. It's a pretty unfortunate. He was not really there because he had his only life. And so my mom had to work out with the other women, of course, that were in that kind of compound to raise us. But basically, it's in that space where there's so many of you, there's family fights, and you don't really kind of like, watch and observe and experience what parenting is all about.
I mean, even though I don't want to reduce what you're saying, don't you think that children of those days, my day, I look older than you, children of those days didn't really place a lot of emphasis on what the parents did and what the parents didn't do, because we didn't know that there was, I never knew there was a word parenting. I never knew the importance of a parent. Do you think there's a difference between you and that child growing up today?
I mean, totally there's a difference. So it's one thing to know if parenting exists, but it's another when you compare yourself with your peers.
Yes.
So most of the time you realize that children, it's not only what they are told, but it's also what they observe. Yeah. So for me, I would really say, even though I might not have known there was parenting and we had to survive like those birds in the forest, just to survive. But at the same time, you realize actually the way other kids, we and parents were providing for them, and I can recall even
materially, intellectually,
exactly, and that support where they can also go to town by bus, and go for holiday with an aunt somewhere, So literally, even though there couldn't be a bit of defined parenting at the time, but I can really attest to say through seeing, which even the current children do. Yes, you feel it by seeing your peers.
So I was about to ask you if I'm reading my notes here. I was about to ask you if the work that you do is inherited. So you've completely told me it's not inherited. You are sort of that child who is now a man and filling the vacuum in the lives of children who do not have parents in their own lives. But even those who have parents and don't value the fact that their parents are present, is what you would say you're doing.
Basically that's it. So what I've learned in my life is basically that while listening, because I feel like the parenting, the scope can be broad.
Yeah.
So I think I've moved to adapt the broader spectrum of the concept of parenting.
The Ubuntu type of parenting.
Exactly, not to limit not to limit to our biological context, because sometimes the biological doesn't exist.
It fails you.
Yes, so I can really attest that I met people in my life later on who actually started parenting me. One of them was a temporary teacher. That's more than 21 years ago, and I'm still in touch with them. They are prof now at Rose University, and they began to actually say, you can do it. They began to believe in me, and I can attest that actually I am so encouraged, providing the same to many young people out there, that actually simply just saying you can do it, and that guidance is needed. So it's not limited to my biological parents.
Talking about school, talking about the parents, talking about the community, talking about you, talking about me, do you think there is a way parents can be involved in the way the school system educates our children?
Definitely. I think it's basically the space that I work in, and I love having parents meetings, and it is some of the things that I do pretty often, to just have parents to actually explain to them, bring that understanding to them that actually they need to be involved. The context is that without the parental involvement, kids need to be cheered up, just like that, cheering up to say you can do it, you can do it. That will really build that confidence. So it's really a necessary, though it is currently a challenge, that parents are not really greatly involved. They don't see the need, they don't have the time, and so on.
In my book, I have a book titled Stop Complaining and Bring Back Involved Parenting, in which I encourage parents to be involved. But also I acknowledge the current economic, financial, social challenge that parents have. And I say, when I set up writing that book, I was just looking at a parent like you and me. I didn't look at parents who are deprived, maybe because of health reasons, psychological reasons, financial reasons. How do you then speak to such people who are deprived?
So the context is, of course, I know the psychological part becomes a bit more.
And health.
Yeah, of course, it's quite extreme, and there is a bit of limitations in terms of like the soberness to try and have a conversation. But what I've learned is that a parent does not need to be educated to be able to go for support.
No, I'm not talking about educated, because I also have that presentation. But for me now, it's that matter of health and psychological and economic as well. I stay in Johannesburg, in the suburban area, and I've got my domestic worker who came from the rural area. That woman loved her children to come stay with me. How does she reconcile the fact that you, Patrick, and me, Victorine, are judging her, sort of, for not being involved in her children's lives?
So, I think the point comes into, we have different scales of doing it, and there's no one scale that we can say one has succeeded. But what matters is the effort towards that involvement. So I would say, if a parent is probably not available, what exactly are they doing in that context? There is a lot. For me, I wouldn't want to use either those as aspects of excuses for not being involved. For example, I would say a parent can find there are quite many ways of just like calling their child, how are you doing, how is school? That might cause them one.
Can I give you a high five? Give you a high five.
So it's not, there is no excuse. We might have different magnitudes of involvement depending on our positioning, where we are.
When you speak about the phone call, I talk to absent fathers, particularly now at this moment. That conversation goes to absent fathers who do not call their children you know, they don't give phone calls, but also there's that support structure of neighbors, there's that support structure of family members, there's that support structure of the other parent. Because we want to be super parents, we want to take charge, we want to do everything for our children, and we forget that the school can actually be taxed. You've just spoken about your teacher who took care of you. I have my story of a teacher as well. The next person out there has a story of maybe not a teacher, a neighbor, you know, or somebody who even drove past and met them. So Patrick and I are saying to the parents, take advantage of the support structures that you have, but also considering the fact that there's a high rate of abuse from adults to children. How comfortable do you think it is for parents to allow children, other adults to take care of their children? How do you then, it's a task, my brother, and let's agree. How do you match that?
So I think basically, if we go back to Ubuntu, it's more the relational side of life. It's being messed up by this, I could call it materialistic, capitalistic world. But the point is the relations within the family setup and the community. We have so many children who have been taken care of by people they don't know. There are people who are adopting children right away. So it means there is that component in the community that there is someone who can also be trusted with children. There are people who are volunteering. There are many old women in the township who are bringing kids together and starting orphanages.
Now you're talking. And not really orphanages per se, but care centers.
Care centers, exactly. So in that context, I would say, even though we have this kind of challenge of where children are being abused, but it doesn't really say we have run short of people who are doing well, but the relational part is important. Because I need to have that interaction with my neighbor, for them to look out for my child when my child comes out of school and I'm not there.
You have to also look at
for other exactly. So I think the relational part of society, that's what we call Ubuntu. We need to really, be out there, be each other's keeper to make the society work.
No, I agree with you 100%. In the work that you do, what are the biggest challenges that you face?
So basically the work that I do, the main one is the bit of parental involvement remains a really memorable task. Why I say so is because it's not basically to be interpreted as a Western phenomenon by other people. Because some people feel like if you take your child, take them out maybe to just buy them food, you are living in luxury. Yet it's simply like simple things like just showing love to your child, encouraging them, showing that you are there for them, even if you can't read. I'm inspired by one other organization called Nali Bali, where they encourage even grandmas who cannot read to just like gather children and allow them to read.
We call it the illiterate schoolmaster phenomenon. Exactly. Where you get a group of children together and you say who can read the first word the child reads and who can read the second word the child reads.
Yes.
In that process, the child is mastering those words, but also teaching others and teaching you as well. Exactly. Our children have so much to teach us. Patrick, we come to the end of the program. It's so beautiful to have you. I look forward to a round 2. Please keep us updated with your work. And if you don't mind, please give our audience your contact details.
Awesome. Yeah.
Starting with the name of your organization.
Okay. So yeah, I'm involved with 2 organizations. The first one is Ikamva Youth, that works with the high school learners mostly, and support after school with tutoring. And then the second one is Warriors Children's Charity, that works mostly with the primary school kids, that is based in Social Gove. And my numbers 078 972 6491. 078 972 6491.
And on the website or social site?
Yes, you can go www.ikamvayouth.org.
Please.
Ikamva Youth is IKAMVAYOUTH. So it's ikamvayouth.org. It's just .org.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much. It's really good having you.
Thank you so much.
And back to our viewers, it was such a pleasure to talk to a man, a gentleman who is so passionate about parenting in an involved manner. My name is Victorine Mbong Shu, and I look forward to hosting you again. Kindly follow CTVSA by subscribing to the YouTube channel. Just put in CTVSA. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, and we are on Instagram, baby. Put the children down right now, parents, and do some social networking.